Thank you all for coming on this rainy, snowy morning. My job is simply to create a space where we can have a conversation with some leaders of the churches in the Holy Land, in Jordan and Israel, Palestine, and they will make short presentations, and then we'll leave about 15 minutes at the end for a conversation with you. The topic is the current conditions in the region. I know you all follow that, so you'll be looking for their insights about what's transpiring and what their hopes are for the future. So without any further ado, I'll introduce Bishop William Shomali, an old friend from the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, and you'll find his biography on page 68 in the booklet. Bishop William.
Thank you, Father. I thank HCEF and especially Sir Ratib Rabi' for the nice invitation to talk to you this morning about the challenges that the Holy Land inhabitants face every day. I thank you all for your friendly presence and solidarity. Historical Palestine is a small country, only 25,000 kilometers square, but rich in history. It is the religious cradle of the Judeo-Christian world. Jerusalem is also a holy city for Muslims. There live two peoples with two languages and practicing three monotheistic religions. Every time Jewish settlers congregate and come up to the esplanade of the Temple Mount or Al-Aqsa, Haram al-Sharif, it leads to a lot of tension that may one day explode the entire Middle East. The Second Intifada began there. The so-called Temple Mount remains a casus belli, cause of war, between Arabs, Muslims, and Jews, something that is difficult to resolve through simple negotiations. In this part of the world lives a tiny but vibrant Arab Christian minority whose number continues to shrink. One important question arises: how can this Arab Christian minority survive? I will deal shortly with three sectors that decide our survival: the economical, the political, and the religious. Here I cannot separate Arab Christians from their Muslim brothers living in Palestine together from centuries. Let me start by economy. I am not economist, but I will give some outlines only. The Palestinian territories is a poor country. If we compare its situation with other countries in the world in terms of gross domestic product per capita, and taking into account purchasing power parity per capita, we will have the following results from the World Bank. In 2011, the PPP of the territories was 2,900 per person. For Israel, it was, or it is, 10 times greater, $30,000 per capita per year. As a comparison only, the PPP for the USA in the same time period is 47,000. Resources. What are the resources for Palestinians? I will only list the main sources of income. First is not a religious tourism, although it brings 2 to 3 million of pilgrims per year. But the main source of income is the stone industry, which provides the Palestinian economy with $700 million per year. There are also the public and private employees and professionals. There is also light industries, such as textiles, plastics, and furniture manufacturing, and even wineries. But also for the region of Bethlehem, there is the handicraft that is very well sold inside and outside the country. We have also to add the taxes collected by Israel and transferred back to the Palestinian National Authority. The PNA uses these monies to pay its employees. These tax receipts are low due to the poorly performing Palestinian economy, which is crippled by the systemic restrictions placed by Israelis. $2 billion are the shortfall, and it is filled by foreign aid coming from Europe, USA, Arab countries, NGOs, churches, and Palestinian family remittances. There is a lot of solidarity between Christian families, those who can help their brothers in the Holy Land. What are the main difficulties that we face every day? Walls and barriers. I don't want to speak a lot. You have heard many explanations about the 700 kilometers long of barriers between Israelis and Palestinians, or they were placed within the Palestinian land. So this barrier is not for the safety of Israel only, but it is to become the de facto border between both, unfortunately. The walls and barriers are a nightmare for everyone. It is not easy to get a permit to enter Israel. Exceptions are made, as in cases of illness or pilgrimage during major feasts. Even with a permit, workers going to Israel are faced with the difficulty of crossing the checkpoint, losing so much time for passage. Some would get up at 2 o'clock a.m. in the morning to line up at the checkpoint to be the first to cross when it opens at 6 a.m. Our situation this morning is better than theirs. Many Christians and Muslims are willing to go to pray in Jerusalem, the holiest city for Christians and one of the 3 holiest in Islam. Christian worshippers need a permit to enter the holy city. People are happy if they obtain one, which lasts generally 1 month. During their feasts, Muslims are allowed just for 1 day during the Fridays of Ramadan and for the principal feasts. Generally, women are then allowed without permits, and also men who are above 45 years. Young people are not allowed, even with permits. Travel. For you to travel from one part to the other in North America, it's easy. But Palestinians have difficulties. They don't have their own airport. They can't travel from Tel Aviv, but from Amman airport. Trips become longer and more expensive, with difficulties in obtaining visa from the host country. What a waste of time to prepare for a trip. It's heroic. The most surprising thing is that you get used to the abnormal that becomes normal. Third difficulty, it's specific for Jerusalem, the real estate construction. The total population of Jerusalem is approximately 800,000 inhabitants, of which 36 are Palestinians and 2% are Christians. Normally, the Palestinians should get a third of the building permits from the municipality, but in reality, they only get 8%. This has made house rentals more expensive, and the price of land for construction has escalated. Family reunification. This is a serious problem. If the wife is Jordanian and the husband is Palestinian, the wife cannot come and live in the Palestinian territories without permission to enter Palestine, and it is not generally given. The same is true for a Palestinian woman whose husband is in Jerusalem or Israel. Thousands of such cases exist and need family reunion. Moreover, all Palestinians who were outside of Palestine during the 1967 war and who have not been registered by the Israelis have lost their and their children's right of residence in their country of origin. Among them are thousands of Christians. Pastor Azar will speak about the crisis of identity that face also Palestinians and mainly the Christian community. I allow myself to give a personal example, but I invite him, he was hesitating, to give his own personal example. My grandfather had a Turkish passport. It was the Ottoman Empire. My father has a Palestinian passport from the British Mandate. Myself, I had a Jordanian passport and I keep it. I have also myself a Palestinian passport since 93. I have a Vatican passport. I am blessed and lucky. I can travel with it to Europe. And recently I got a provisional identity card for Jerusalem in order to be able to make my work in the city. But my two of my brothers are Canadian, my sister is American, and so on. And there is a crisis of identity, who we are. When I am at the checkpoint, I have to make a reasoning which document at this point I should show to the soldier. It depends from the place where we are. So we are at risk of schizophrenia with many documents and many identities. Another difficulty is hatred and ignorance of each other. Because of wars, violence and retaliation between the two peoples, because of the barriers and walls that have enclosed the Palestinians in a large ghetto, because of the large number of prisoners in Israeli prisons and suicidal actions committed by Palestinians in Israeli cities, hatred and ignorance of the other prevail in the Holy Land. If a Palestinian child is asked what he knows about the Holocaust, he will deny it or say that the Jewish people deserve it. I apologize for quoting this. If an Israeli child is asked what the word Nakba means, he may say he knows nothing. Nakba is the Palestinian exodus in 48 with 1 million refugees. Everyone has his own memory of the past and retains only his own sufferings, being unwilling to open up to the suffering of others. It's a problem. Immigration. All the foregoing reasons, including unemployment, insecurity, pushed many Palestinians to immigrate, among them a big percentage of Christians. I give just one example. During the English census of Palestine in 1922, the Christians of Jerusalem were 14,000, or 24% of the Jerusalem population. 24% of the Jerusalem population. In 48, Christians were 29,000. The Nakba of 48 decimated the Christian population of Jerusalem so that the 67 census showed the number of Christians down to 12,000. Today, they are approximately 10,000 in a total population of 800,000. Now, we are less than 1.5 of the total population of the city. There are more Jerusalem Christians in Sydney, in Australia, than in Jerusalem. There are much more Christians from Bethlehem in Chile, 350,000, than in Bethlehem itself. Water. There is severe water shortage in the Holy Land. The rainy season lasts 3 months. The result is an average of 500 millimeters per year, when we are lucky. Fortunately, there is groundwater which is totally controlled by the Israelis, and the Palestinians are entitled only to a limited portion of this groundwater. It's a paradox, and yet true. What was returned to the Palestinians in area A and B is the land, while the air and what is underground belong to the Israelis, who have the right to fly over all of Palestine and control water. I lost the page because of computer. This is technology, but I will find it. Excuse me. I am there. It's quick. The water shortage is a recurring crisis each year during the summer. So if you want to send us some lakes from the United States, I heard that in Alaska you have 2 million lakes. So we are missing. We have the Dead Sea and we have the Jordan River. Jordan River is a stream. We called it river by respect to its sacred character. But in fact, when you go there, it's a small stream.
Arab Christians were and still greater contributors to their societies, with Article 6 in the Constitution, are equal before the law regardless of religion, race, and language. Jordanian Christians are allowed by the public and private sectors to leave work on Sunday mornings to attend the Divine Mass. Christians as well, Christmas as well today is recognized as a national holiday in Jordan. The Sunday Masses are aired lively every Sunday from one of the historical churches on local Jordanian radio channel. Even there are efforts nowadays to broadcast the Sunday Masses lively on local Jordan TV. All Christian religious ceremonies are publicly celebrated. Christians have established good relationship with the royal family and the various Jordanian government officials. Christians have their own ecclesiastical courts for matters of personal status equal to the Muslim courts. Ecclesiastical courts can as well create church trusts, in Arabic we call it waqf, which is automatically recognized and confirmed with all civil effects by the Ministers' Council. When compared to the region, Christians enjoy in Jordan more economic and social opportunity in our beloved Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan than elsewhere in the Middle East and North Africa. Christians have a disproportionately large representation in the Jordanian parliament. 10% of the parliament are Christians, and they hold important government portfolios, ambassadorial appointments abroad, and positions of high military rank. In Jordan, Christian-Muslim relations constitute an excellent paradigm of tolerance, coexistence, and respect of others. In 2004 and 2007, two important documents were produced in Jordan that they reflect an effect into the globe. First, Amman message. They're fellow Christians, but they have also lived with their fellow Christians. This is the meaning and the importance of the presence and the witness of Arab Christianity in the Middle East. It is a real testimony to the values of life, to the dignity of human beings, and to the love of God and to all people. Thus, the Christian church in the Middle East, with its prophetic role towards justice, peace, and reconciliation, as well to its direct immense contribution towards societal issues, developmental projects, and national aspirations, has coined its identity and credibility in its respective societies. Thus, it is our ongoing duty to continue our mission and ministry today in the rise of terrorism, fanaticism, injustices, lack of freedoms, and the aspiration for real democracies, to stand up against xenophobia, Islamophobia, and Christianophobia. It is our role to elucidate as well the existing global communion and partnerships between our churches in the East and the West, and the sincere role our partnership churches in the West are playing towards the support of our ministries and issues of justice and democracies and freedoms. Thus, our weight in our society is measured by our contribution to the development of our societies. Lastly, we are trying to develop in Amman, in our church and our center, a kind of ecumenical ministry. This is what I have been discussing with the president of HCEF, Mr. Ratib Rabia, of developing an elderly daycare center that could serve the society at large, both Muslims and Christians, that could really contribute to the good coexistence and to the ecumenism in Jordan. In short, Muslims do appreciate us Christians in our societies for our integrity, for our faithfulness, for our contribution to the development of our societies.
I would just ask, we all know that a very large portion of Christians have left the Holy Land. Why is it that it's mostly Christians? Why is it that it's a large population of Christians who have left?